everyone, welcome back to Novel Nomad, and apologies for being a little bit MIA over the last few months. It's just been a little bit crazy at my work, and the scheduling has been awful for videos, so I've had a lot of ideas that have to be put on the back burner. But at the current time, I just wanted to do a quick catch up so you know where I'm at with Victober, because even though video recording and getting that scheduled has been hard, I'm still plugging on with the reading. So what I wanted to do is a quick wrap up of what I've read so far and what I'm planning to read next. So first, I didn't technically read this for Victober. I read it in September, but finished it up in like the first few days of October, so it felt very Victober-ish, and that was my appetizer of George Eliot's Daniel Durando, which I absolutely loved. I thoroughly love this book. I highly recommend. It was my first George Eliot, so it's not Middlemarch. I think I'm bucking the trend there along with Adam from Memento Mori. We both started with Daniel Durando as our very first Eliot, but we will be going on to Middlemarch next. Probably not the next book we read, but the next Eliot we read. My first official Victober read that I did was George Gissing's The Odd Women. I was absolutely enthralled with this book. It was incredibly fascinating to read such diverse female characters in a very slim novel. It was really fascinating to have so many different perspectives, also from women from different class backgrounds as well, and how women were really approaching the suffrage movement and very early feminist movements. So it's really interesting. Of course, it still has the problem that we face today with many issues with feminism being classist and racist. That being said though, I still think this was a very important and very fascinating read. Then of course I jumped into a Hardy. Hardy was really easy to read. This is a highly romantic, a bit of a star-crossed lovers book with a woman who's a much older widow and a very young youth as such, but he's in his like early 20s, and they fall in love, and it's really lovely, although the ending is very dramatic, I must say, but it's really beautiful. The nature writing in this is superb. You can see Hardy is really focusing on his nature writing in this one, and it's beautiful. Next, I buddy read with the lovely Kate Howe, Aurora Floyd by Mary Elizabeth Braddon. This one was really fascinating. Mary Elizabeth Braddon, better known for Lady Audley's Secret. She wrote a lot of sensationalist novels, and I've read a few of hers over the years, but this one was quite fun. It was really playing with that kind of gothic idea of leaving a lot unsaid, so you had to really guess at what was actually going on. And what was great about this one is we both kept suspecting that the main character was more wicked than she seemed. But yeah, so it was really good fun. And the last chapters became like a detective novel. I loved it. It was so good. Such a great way, because it really changed up the pacing and just made you speed through the end, and it came to such a great conclusion. So highly recommend this one. This was really fun. Very wordy, very heavy with words, but otherwise a very enjoyable read. On to what I'm currently reading. I'm still making my way through Shirley. I was going to try and read it over 4 days. Yeah, that didn't work, because Shirley is a historical novel, and she very much gets into the scene setting. She really makes you want to feel every character and every scene and every big big economical and social upheaval that is happening at that time, and the war. It keeps mentioning the Napoleonic War. So it is very good. I am enjoying it. It is a lot slower for me though. I'm not really rushing through this one. Like, I read Villette in 3 days, and people have a lot of problems with Villette, so it's a very different Bronte for me to approach, but otherwise I am still enjoying it. I'm just slowly making my way through. Other works I'm slowly making my way through is Mary Elizabeth Braddon's poetry collection. I'm reading one poem every few days, every now and then, whenever I feel the desire to. It's really beautiful. I absolutely love her Portuguese sonnets. They're stunning. I think they're called Portuguese sonnets. Let me just quickly check. Oh, where are they? Where are they? Here they are. Yeah, so they're all the little ones that she's well known for, like all those little, the progression of love poems that she's very well known for, like How Do I Love Thee, Let Me Count the Ways. So it was really, really fun reading this one. And some really great like political pieces in here too. Very Victorian, very romanticism, kind of going into more of the social issues of the time. And lastly, one that's given me absolute joy to pick up now and then because it's so true, is Silly Novels by Lady Novelists. This is actually quite fun, and it is amazingly can be applied to today, not just by lady novelists but by any novelist. So it's that classic idea of these tropes that people use to make the characters seem this perfect idealized character or person or woman or man, and all these like socially acceptable ideas of perfection that they must have, but technically they clash with each other, because how can one person have one thing and have the other thing but not be corrupted in some way? So I think the very first part, which is making me laugh, is the fact that people create characters that aren't really humanly possible, and they're so beyond human that they're really hard to connect to. It's like living in an ideal fantasy, but it's nothing human about them. So thoroughly enjoying this. George Eliot is very, very sharp on her words. Lastly is what I'll be reading next, and excuse the edition, this is the only edition my library had, and this is Scenes of a Clerical Life by George Eliot. The only hard copy they had was the large print edition, which is going to be great because it's going to feel like I'm rushing, really like flying through the work. But this is George Eliot. I'm going to be budding reading this with Kate Howe and a few others, so I'm super excited to get on to Scenes of a Clerical Life. Another George Eliot as well, and I think it's just going to be a really fascinating read to see. This is like one of her, I think it's one of her earlier pieces, so I'm going with Daniel Durando, her last work, all the way through to her earlier piece. So it's just going to be really, really great to start this one. And hopefully I can get through this, Shirley, and the other two books to kind of nicely round out my Victober experience for the year. But in saying that, I have loved what I've read so far. So if you're participating in Victober, let me know what you're reading down below, what you want to get finished in this last week of Victober. It's come and gone so quickly this year. I'm slightly disappointed, but also slightly excited to finish all these amazing Victorian novels. And of course, Victorian novels aren't just for October, they can be for any time in the year. With that being said, I hope you all have a lovely week. Happy reading, and I'll see you next time. Bye.